What is up, YouTube? This is your boy Royal Mech, and today, if you read the comments, we got my updated list for Wargreymon from the BT14 support. So I'm going to go into each card, explain why I play what I play, and I'll even mention what you can play in Operation. And it looks like the deck wants to have a mind of its own and go ahead and introduce itself for you. So first up, we are playing 4 of the BT5 Koromon. This is actually, in my opinion, the best egg of the deck, of the game for Tribal, Greymon Tribal in general. It gives you that additional draw for whenever a Greymon or Omnimon attacks. So it does everything it needs to do without any kind of excess work. You'll always be into a Greymon, so there's no issues there. Now, there is, for the eggs, the only optional one I could see you even playing is the Koromon. Now, at times, if I feel like it, I'll play the 5th egg, being this BT14 Koromon that has the ability, when a security stack is removed, draw a card. That's really good because the deck's already blitzing anyway, so you might as well just get the additional money for it, right? Now, we're going to go into the rookies. These are pretty much set in stone at this point. We are playing 4 copies of the BT12 Agumon. This is your main searcher of the deck. On play, you reveal the top 4 cards of the deck. You are then able to grab 1 Greymon or Omnimon and a tie from among them, add it to hand. Put the rest at the bottom of the deck. This is the best part because it's a better searcher, especially for now how tamer-oriented this deck has gotten, as well as it has the inheritable. During all players' turns, your Omnimons and Greymon gain 1000 DP. So that constant power is also really, really strong. You really want to keep this at 4. There's no juggling between the two, and there's no way you're going to be doing anything different. Next up, we'll go into the next rookies of the deck. Now introducing the new BT14 Agumon. Now this man is a mad lad. So for those of you who don't know, the BT14 Agumon has the ability at the start of main phase. It has the ability at the start of main phase. You can Digivolve into a Greymon if you have a tie tamer in play for no cost. Now, why is that good? If you have the Memory Tamer tie on board, this guy becomes a literal monster. He goes straight into a grade 2. He goes into a champion for free, which then allows you access to just go into your ultimates on that next grade turn, and it's just beautiful. Now, he also has the inheritable of, if you have an Omnimon or Greymon in name, during your turn it gains 2 KDP. So he completely replaces the promo Agumon in every sense of the word, because he's promo Agumon plus an additional. And this alt-art, guys, is just fan-freaking-tastic. I love it. And then, last but not least, if you're playing Greymon Tribal, you play their X-Antibody pieces. So we do play 4 copies of the Agumon X. Now, this is another one of our searchers, being able to evolve into this for 0 on top of an Agumon to get that additional +1 on top of hitting all your X's, your X antibodies, X evolutions, your X antibodies, your Omnis, and your Greymons. This just does wonderful work. I would not replace this for anything else. And that, honestly, is all the rookies. Now, a lot of this deck is going to look similar to a lot of other people's lists, but that's just because Greymon has pretty much been completely solved by almost every player of the deck. So, and most players come to the same conclusion either way. So, next up, for champions, we run 4 copies of our security Greymon. This guy is still one of the best Greymons to run in the deck. He gives you that +1 security, and if you get it on top of the new BT14 Agumon, this is just a free Evo. But, because we are talking about BT14 Agumon, the Greymon that works the best with this mad lad is the BT5 Greymon. He has the ability on Digivolve. If you have a Agumon in the Evo sources, you gain a memory. Now do that on him for free. That's one additional memory for your turn. So you start a turn with 3. Nope, you're at 4. And if you have the BT12 tie on board along with your memory tamer, that goes from being a we evolved for free. We gain 2 memory instead of just gaining 1. So playing this at 2 is really what you want to do with your BT14 Agumon. You want to see this, but the security one's just better overall for what the game plan is. But if you can see this one on Evo, congratulations, you gained a free memory. Your turn was almost free. Next, we'll go into 3 copies of the Greymon X, the original from BT9. You're just playing it for protections. And then one of the Greymon X antibody. This is the one that gives you that Evo reduction per color. It is really good. If we were to get this bumped back to 4, this would be a 4 of no matter what. But right now we only get it at 1, so the remaining 3 have to be the remove 2 sources protection. On to the ultimates. Next up, we go into the level 5s. Next up, we play 4 copies of the Metal Gray. Best Metal Gray in the game. This gives our Metal Grays piercing. It has raid to where it can play a tamer for free. So no problems there. So it has raid, but it also has the ability when an attack is redirected, you get to play a tamer, a red or black tamer for free. That's on either player's turn. So if this is on board and it watches attack redirects, it can play a tamer during your opponent's turn. But you're mainly playing it because you want to get that Evo. Plus, on top of black, it's a 1 Evo. On top of virus, it's a 1 Evo. Next up, we play 1 copy of the Alteris mode. He has the on Digivolution effect on top. If you have a timer in play, kill something for 5k. Now, if he does count as a Metal Greymon, but he can also evolve on top of Metal Greymon for free. And he has the inheritable as well as the get rid of 2 copies of the same level for protection. Then last but not least, we play the powerhouse of our cell, one of the powerhouses of the cell, 3 copies of the Metal Greymon X. This guy is just really good, will always be good. He gives you 1 security, and then if Metal Gray's in the Evo sources or the X antibody is in the Evo sources, you gain additional 3k. So you'll always see the Metal Gray at some point or the X antibody, so you'll always have those additional 2 stats. Next up, we'll go into my 6s and 7s. First up, and I know this is probably going to be blasphemous to some, we only play 2 copies of the BT12 Wargrey. Now, the reason for this is because we are spreading love between all Wargreys in the deck. But this one's still one of the best Wargreys in the game. Raid on Evo to gain 3k DP and have reboot on the next turn keeps this guy as one of the best cards in the game, especially because it can technically protects itself for being directly attacked. You have to really use actual effects to get rid of him. And with Black Tie, this is literally a 2 blocker. Next, we play 2 copies of the BT14 Wargrey. Now, this guy is new. People are juggle between do they like him or not. I'm in the party of he's a really good card because he helps Greymon do what it had a problem with. And it helps, the problem was the return of catching up when you're in a downward spiral. Reason I say that's because he has 3 abilities. His first ability is if your opponent has a Digimon with 10k DP or more, you can warp evolve into this on top of an Agumon for the cost of 4. So you can make, if you only are able to get a new rookie up but nothing really on the back end, this can make the gap, leap the gap, put you to back in the game with 6s and just keep putting the pressure on. And why that's important, because he has the on Digivolution skill, he gains raid. And then and he can attack. He has to attack if he can. So if the Digimon is on board and he's been out for a turn and it's possible to swing, you can actually Digivolve into this with its pseudo blitz and just do what you got to do. But it also has the on attack step of if you have a tie tamer in play, gain a security and piercing. So he literally absorbs all the abilities of Greymon and Metal Gray into one whole body just to do one nice swing. Now, that's also, that's incredibly good, and that's why part of the reason I also play him, because he is that one card do everything. So, and a lot of people are like, oh, you just play him at 1. I play him at 2 because I want to see him almost as much as everybody else, because he may be the answer to solving more problems than the other. Then last of the level 6s, we do just go ahead and hit up 2 copies of Wargreymon X to square it out. This guy is incredible now because you have 2 incredibly good Wargreys, and this guy just gets to go cool. Did you can just warp into him with the X antibody on top of your Wargreys, hit heavy security to gain more memory back, end it on killing one of their guys to keep your turn pressing forward, and yeah, and then it's just bad. And then if you make him if he's a blocker, after you've put him on top of the Raid Wargrey from BT12, this guy just gets more nuts, because his end of battle effect is once per turn during either player's turn. So as long as he was in a battle and the battle ended while he's still active, he could kill something else if it's weaker than him. So on like that first turn, that first ride into 6s, if you went through metal and you got into him as one of your X evolves, you literally just shut your opponent. You can literally shut their board down by just blocking with this and killing another unit. So that's part of the reason I play him at 2. So we play 2 of everybody. I actually do see them all equally. And honestly, I see this guy the right amount now compared to how it was back in BT9. And then last, we'll do our level 7s. I play 1 copy of Omnimon with Blitz, and then I play 1 copy of Omnimon X. Now, the reason I play the split is because sometimes, especially in this format, it's better to be able to kill off a whole board than just instant killing where you can't guarantee the win. Now, you could just say, oh, just run 2 and then guarantee you have the win slot. Not every time are you going to be able to say I have the win. Because if they have blockers on board, this honestly just gets around saying, oh yeah, blockers, cool. Let me kill something else of importance and still take your security out with me. That's why I do it. Now, you can still go 2 of the Blitz. I like the 1 of 1 and 1 because this just makes things more problematic. And if they do have a blocker and I have both in hand, this at least helps me get the answer out to the blocker. Alright, on to the options. We played 3 copies of the X antibody. You are required to play this card. I tried playing it at 2. 2 is too small. 3 is that right amount. You'll see it just enough through drawing, and you see it just enough through security and your search abilities. So we played at the 1 ofs, and everything is the 3 of, and everything just works out fine. And yes, guys, most of this deck is almost completely alt-hearted. I'm only missing at this point the Agumons, the Agumon for BT12, and the Greymon X's. Those are a work in progress. Next up, we played 3 copies of Offensive Training. This card is amazing, and it is broken. I kind of hope they hit it to like 1, but I hope they don't get hit at all, because these get hit at all, because these actually help all decks balance out in speed. And if you don't know what we mean by that, let me go into it. So it has the ability during main, on play pretty much, you look at the top 2 cards of your deck. You add 1 card of the color equivalent to the trading. Add it to hand, put the other at the bottom. Then it has the delay. The next time you can trash it to the next time you evolve, reduce evo cost by 2. Why this is good is because in Greymon, this just turns most of our evos to 1. Most of our evos are all 3 cost. So one of these just turn evo to 3, and evo from 3 to 1, and you just keep the climb going. It's also a really good searcher because it helps you get all your pieces, not just the 1 piece you want. So that's why it's good. You can up this to 4 for 1 card I play. and I play it for tech option. But the next card I show, you can opt it out for a 4th offensive training. I don't think you need 4. 3 is enough. Last but not least in the options, I do play 1 copy of Dragon of Courage. Now, this has the ability during your main phase by placing 1 Greymon, 1 Metal Grey under an Agumon in play. If you have a Tie Tamer, which we will because we play plenty, you can then warp Digivolve your Agumon into a Wargrey for its Evo cost. Now, this is pulling from your drop zone. So, over the process of the game, this will always be active. So, the reason I play this also is to fix a Wargrey in case you need it. Say you don't have the BT14 Agumon, but you do have an Agumon in play. You probably have your BT12 Agumon in play, right? This can just replace that skill and just warp him into a Wargrey to help clinch out the game where you can. Now, I do also, and that's kind of just the reason for it, to fix that missing gap for you where it can. Plus, if it dies, you have to play Agumon for free. If this is hitting security, this comes to hand and you get to play an Agumon for free. So, no complaints there, right? Now we'll go into the Tamers. We play 2 copies of the BT1 Tie. He is your memory tamer, and if your red Digimon has 4 or more Evo sources, you gain a security. Really good. Honestly, I might switch the ratios between my 2 tamer counts to put this at 3. But as of right now, it's at 2. I do see it a lot, but you can, if you feel it is necessary, you can opt this to 3. I wouldn't be against it at all because this is kind of more important in the OTK variant. And then last but not least, we played 3 copies of the BT12 Tie. Now, this bad boy is amazing as well. On play or during the start of your main phase, he gives your Agumon or Greymon blocker and 1000k DP. Really good. And then it has the ability, when it witnesses you Digivolving into a Greymon or Omnimon, you get to spend it to gain a memory. So, both the first part is why this got switched out, because this could have been a Cool Boy, but because of the giving power, it replaces Cool Boy. And I see nothing wrong with that. Honestly, you'll most likely run into this before you run into the Memory Tamer Tie, but it's what you gotta do, right? And this is just really, really good, and I would not change this deck for the world. Now, this has been the deck profile. I will say once again, if anything, you can replace the offensive training in this deck with the Dragon of Courage for another offensive training if you don't feel like this is necessary. I do it though because there are a lot of decks that like to climb up incredibly fast, so this is to help get rid of those early. This is to help just have an out when you don't have anything else. Because sometimes you do end up in that situation where you have rookies for days but nothing else, and all your pieces keep just dropping in the trash while you have 6s. So, this is a good saving grace. Now, I would say if outside of this, you could replace this also for a Crimson Blaze. Because we are in that format now where everybody's going incredibly wide, and Crimson Blaze can definitely kill off the lower ends. But that is the video, guys. I do hope you had a great day. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe. I do see 99% of you guys are not subscribed but watch my videos. So I appreciate the watches, but please help the channel by making sure to subscribe as well. And you guys have a great rest of your day. This has been Royal Mech signing out. Peace.